This is my recipe for beef rendang. This is a specialty among the Indonesian and Malaysian Muslims. It's made for especially during festive season like Eid or for weddings. I decided to make the paste myself. So for that, in a bowl, in a pan, sorry, I've taken added about 2 teaspoons of coconut oil, and to that I'm adding a few dry chilies, about 10. I'll give you the ingredients later in the description under my video. So for that, once the chilies are slightly browned, I'm gonna add a large red onion. If you have shallots, you can add it as well. I mean, you can use shallots instead of the red onions. For that, I've added a half an inch of sliced ginger and 2 teaspoons of lemongrass, dried lemongrass. I didn't have fresh one handy. So once they are sauteed, I'm going to set aside, and I'm going to leave it to rest for a bit, and then I'm going to grind it in a grinder to make it a paste. While the onions and chilies are resting, so I've in the bowl again I've taken and added another teaspoon of coconut oil. To that I've added a few strands of dried lemongrass, and I'm adding a large sliced onion. I'm going to saute it and again set aside. This is again, it's a process that is not used it's not the part of the beef rendang recipe, but I prefer to add the sauteed onions to the gravy, and I feel that it gives a bit of a rich flavor to it. So for that, to making the beef rendang, I've taken a bigger pan. To that I added about a teaspoon of oil. To that I'm adding the paste that I made with the dried chilies and onions. If you had kafir leaves or lime leaves, you could have added when you're making the paste, but it doesn't change the flavor. So making sure that now that the paste is thoroughly browned and it loses all the raw flavor, like so. And then to this I'm gonna add the beef, which I have cut it into small 1 centimeter cube. And you don't really need to marinate it, but I did marinate it with for about an hour or so with 5 or 6 grated garlic and half an inch of ginger with a teaspoon of turmeric. So I'm going to make sure that the paste is coated well with the meat, and also at the same time the beef is sealed well. So that will take a minute or so, or probably a couple of minutes or so. But if this is a dish that takes a while to cook, so if you have time only, then you can make it. So once the meat is covered well with the paste, I'm adding the sauteed onions as well. So I'm just going to stir it well. This took me about 3.5 hours for 600 grams of meat, but if you were using a bigger amount, then you have to let it cook for a bit longer. So probably I would say about 4 hours or so. So for this mix, I'm gonna now add my coconut milk. For the whole of this curry, I'm gonna add 1 can of coconut, but at this stage I'm adding half of coconut. I mixed it with hot water, to make it into 1 can, and then I'm gonna add another cup of hot water to it. I'm gonna let it cook or cover it with a lid and let it simmer for about an hour or so. And I'm going to open the lid and making sure that nothing is sticking to the pan. If you're not using non-stick pan, you'll have to make sure that time to time you'll have to stir it so it doesn't cook. Once you can see that the oil starts separating from the gravy, I've just added about a teaspoon of brown sugar, or coconut sugar rather. You can add any brown sugar you have handy. I've also added a teaspoon of tamarind paste. This you can buy it in any Asian shop. If not, you'll have to buy the tamarind and soak it in hot water and take some juice out of it. If you didn't have the tamarind, you can also substitute with lemon juice. So for that, after that, I've also then added the rest of my coconut milk and a bit of water. And now I'm going to let it simmer open for about another hour or so. And once you can see the oil is separated from the gravy, and the gravy is thickened, you will switch off the hob, cover it and leave it to rest for at least 2 to 3 hours. And then my beef rendang is done. I served it with white rice, or you can also have it with brown rice. Thank you. Bye bye.